Monday nights were supposed to be quiet. At 8:45 p.m., the 35th floor usually settled into a steady hum. Lights humming overhead, air moving through vents, the building breathing like a tired animal. Adam Bennett liked that hour. It meant fewer interruptions, fewer chances to make a mistake that could cost him a job he could not afford to lose. He checked the last box on his clipboard and slid the pen behind his ear. Restrooms, locked. Conference rooms, secured. The glass-walled corner office still glowed, a white square against the darker hallway, but everyone important had already gone home. Adam rolled his shoulders once, feeling the ache that lived there most nights, and started toward the elevator. His phone vibrated. He stopped mid-step, the sound echoing louder than it should have. The screen showed the number he always answered on the first ring. "Mr. Bennett," the school nurse said, voice gentle but practiced. "Evelyn's running a fever. It's not high right now, but if it doesn't break overnight, we'll need you to pick her up early tomorrow." "I'll be there," Adam said, already nodding. "Thank you for calling." He ended the call and stood still for a moment, staring at the reflection of himself in the dark glass. He looked older than 36 under fluorescent light, lines around his eyes, a carefulness to his posture that hadn't been there 3 years ago. He imagined Evelyn asleep in her bed, hair fanned across the pillow, and felt the familiar squeeze in his chest. Work could wait. It always had to. Adam tucked the clipboard under his arm and turned the corner too fast. He collided with someone coming the other way. The impact wasn't hard, but it was enough. A leather portfolio slipped from the woman's hands and hit the floor. Papers scattered across the polished tile, sliding until they rested against the baseboards like fallen leaves. "I'm sorry," Adam said, already dropping to his knees. The woman crouched across from him, movements precise, efficient. She gathered the pages without a word, aligning corners as if order itself were a personal preference. Adam reached for a document and froze when he recognized the name printed in the header. Luna Esterling. He knew the face from internal emails and the occasional photo on the company intranet. Cool eyes, composed expression, a presence that suggested she didn't wait for rooms to accommodate her. In person, she was exactly that and more. Their hands reached for the portfolio at the same time. They didn't touch, but the space between them felt tight, charged. Adam passed it to her and stood. "Thank you," she said, polite, distant, final. She turned to leave. That should have been the end of it. Adam watched her heels disappear down the corridor, the click of them sharp against the floor. Then he noticed what she hadn't. A sealed envelope, cream-colored and embossed, half hidden beneath a filing cabinet near the wall. It looked important. Everything on this floor did. Adam picked it up and jogged after her. "Miss Sterling," he called, heart beating faster than the short run warranted. She stopped and turned back, expression unreadable. "You dropped this," he said, holding the envelope out like it might bite him. Luna took it, glanced at the seal, and slid it into her purse. Without hesitation, she pulled out her wallet and counted out crisp bills, extending them toward him. Adam stared at the money, then at her face. He shook his head. "I was just returning something that wasn't mine," he said. "You don't need to pay me." Her eyes narrowed slightly, as if she were recalculating. "Are you sure?" "Yes." Adam stepped back, giving her space, and turned away before she could respond. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. The weight of the moment followed him anyway, settling between his shoulders as he headed for the elevator. He rode down alone, the building's quiet wrapping around him again. By the time he reached the lobby, the encounter had already begun to feel unreal, like something he might question later. When the math of the month came due, high above, Luna Sterling stood in her office. The city spread beneath her like a map of lights. She set her purse on the desk and took the envelope out, laying it flat. Her reflection stared back at her from the glass. Controlled, composed, tired in a way no one ever noticed. She opened her laptop and pulled up the employee directory. Adam Bennett. Night operations. single parent, medical debt. No manegiri el tais. No el iensis. Clean. Luna leaned back in her chair and glanced at the calendar pinned to the corner of her screen. 11 months. She closed her eyes for a brief second, then opened them again. I need someone clean, she said softly to the empty room. And somewhere below, Adam Bennett stepped out into the night, unaware that his life had just shifted its axis. The email arrived at exactly 8:02 a.m. Adam Bennett read it 3 times before the words settled into something he could understand. Human Resources requests your presence on the 36th floor at 9:00 a.m. ***. Meeting with Luna Sterling. No explanation. No subject line beyond meeting request. Adam sat at his small kitchen table, coffee cooling untouched beside him, while Evelyn colored dinosaurs across a sheet of scrap paper. The apartment smelled faintly of toast and the lavender soap he bought because it was on sale. The 36th floor. People didn't get summoned there unless something was wrong. He imagined a quiet conversation, the careful corporate tone, the apology wrapped in policy language. * budget adjustments. Restructuring. Thank you for your service. * he had lived long enough to recognize the shape of bad news before it arrived. I'll walk you to school today, he told Evelyn, forcing a smile. She looked up. You're not working? Later, he said. Just a meeting. He didn't tell her what he was afraid of. The elevator ride up felt longer than it should have. Each floor passed in silence, the numbers blinking steadily as if counting down to something final. When the doors opened on 36, the temperature seemed to drop. Glass, steel, space. The executive floor didn't hum like the others. It held its breath. A receptionist with a polite smile directed Adam to a conference room at the end of the hall. Inside, the table was long enough to seat 12, but only one chair was occupied. Luna Sterling sat at the head, hands folded, posture immaculate. Morning light poured in through the windows behind her, outlining her in pale gold before settling into something colder. Mr. Bennett, she said. Please sit. Adam did. The chair felt too large, the distance between them deliberate. Luna didn't waste time. I'll be direct, she said. You're not here because you've done anything wrong. Adam released a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. This is unrelated to your role here, she continued. What I'm about to ask you has nothing to do with night operations. That didn't help. She slid a folder across the table toward him but didn't open it yet. My father's will contains a condition, Luna said. One that determines who controls Sterling marketing. Solution. Adam waited. In order to retain executive authority, she said, I must be married before my 30th birthday. He stared at her. That birthday, she added, is 11 months away. The words didn't connect at first. Adam searched her face for a sign this was a test, or a misunderstanding, or a conversation meant for someone else. And if you aren't? He asked. Carefully. Luna's mouth tightened. Control transfers to my brother, Derek. The name carried weight. Adam had heard it enough times in the building, always followed by a pause. I need a husband, Luna said. For 1 year. Silence filled the room, thick and heavy. Adam let out a short laugh, then stopped when he realized she wasn't smiling. You want me to pretend, he said slowly, to be married to you. Yes. He leaned back, the chair creaking softly. Why me? Because you're clean, she said without hesitation. You don't move in executive circles. You have no alliances, no ambition beyond your work and your child. The words landed harder than she intended. Adam felt heat rise behind his eyes. Luna opened the folder. Inside were numbers, charts, agreements outlined in language both precise and devastating. She spoke calmly as she explained them. His outstanding medical debt, a revised salary, health coverage, a college fund earmarked for Evelyn, structured and secure. This would resolve your financial instability, Luna said. Immediately, Adam's throat tightened. He thought of overdue notices folded into drawers, of nights awake doing math that never came out right. You'd be paid to play a role, she said. Attend events. Appear publicly. Live separately unless circumstances require otherwise.
Noi mouschen elablegastjens.
Contract. 12 months. He looked up at her then. Really looked. There was no cruelty in her expression. Only necessity. I won't let my daughter be used, Adam said, the words sharp and sudden. No photos.
No epirensis.
No stories. Luna didn't hesitate. Agreed. You don't negotiate that? No, she said. That boundary stands. The room fell quiet again. I need time, Adam said finally. 24 hours, Luna replied. That's reasonable. She stood, signaling the meeting's end. Adam gathered the folder, his hands unsteady. That night, Adam sat beside Evelyn's bed, listening to her breathe. Her skin was warm beneath his palm. His phone buzzed softly. School nurse *fever is back. Adam closed his eyes and pressed the folder against his chest. When he opened them again, the contract lay open on the bedspread. His hand trembled as he turned the page. 3 days later, Adam signed his name in a quiet office that smelled faintly of paper and citrus cleaner. Rachel Voss sat across the desk from him, her glasses resting low on her nose as she reviewed the final page. She was composed in the way people were when they had learned to keep emotion out of their work, but her eyes were kind. When Luna stepped out to take a call, Rachel closed the folder and looked directly at Adam. I need to ask you something off the record, she said. Are you doing this of your own free will?
Adam sdaloet.
The pen felt heavier than it should have. Yes, he said. It wasn't the whole truth, but it wasn't a lie either. Rachel nodded once, as if she understood the space between those two things. Then I'll make sure the agreement protects you as much as it can. He signed. The sound of the pen against paper was quiet, final. When Luna returned, they shook hands like business partners.
No smiles. No ceremony.
Just a contract binding two lives together for reasons that had nothing to do with affection. That afternoon, Adam moved into the penthouse. The elevator opened directly into a space that felt more like a gallery than a home. White walls, expansive windows, furniture arranged with precision, untouched by anything personal. The city stretched below them, distant and unreal. This will be your room, Luna said, gesturing down a long hallway. Adam followed her to a guest bedroom larger than his entire apartment. The bed was perfectly made, the sheets smooth and unwrinkled. There were no photographs, no books, no signs that anyone actually lived there. Rules are simple, Luna said. Privacy. No assumptions. We perform when necessary. Otherwise, we coexist. Like roommates, Adam said. She considered that. Like colleagues, she corrected. He unpacked quietly, placing his few belongings into drawers that swallowed them whole. That night, he ate dinner alone at the kitchen island, the city lights flickering outside like something he wasn't part of. 3 days later, they attended their first family dinner at the Sterling estate. The house sat behind iron gates and trimmed hedges, warm light spilling from tall windows as the sun dipped below the horizon. Inside, everything gleamed. Polished wood, crystal glasses, art chosen to impress rather than comfort. Derek Sterling was waiting in the living room when they arrived. He rose with an easy smile, whiskey glass in hand, and crossed the room with confident strides. He looked like someone accustomed to being listened to. Luna, he said, kissing her cheek. You've been busy. Then his gaze shifted to Adam. And you must be the mystery, Derek said, extending his hand. Adam took it. Derek's grip was firm, just a little too tight. Adam Bennett, Derek said thoughtfully. Interesting. Dinner was formal, too quiet. The clink of silverware echoed against porcelain plates. Conversation flowed around Adam without quite including him. So, Derek said midway through the meal, leaning back in his chair, how did the two of you meet? Adam opened his mouth, but Luna spoke first. At the office, she said smoothly. Adam works in marketing. Derek's eyebrow lifted slightly. Marketing is broad. He's effective, Luna added. Adam nodded, the word effective settling on him like a label he hadn't chosen. He placed his hand lightly on the back of Luna's chair, mimicking a gesture he'd seen other couples make. She covered it briefly with her own, a practiced touch that felt rehearsed rather than warm. Across the table, Derek watched everything. Family businesses, Derek said casually, can be unforgiving. They test relationships. Luna met his gaze. All worthwhile things are tested. Adam felt the tension stretch thin, like glass under pressure. When dessert arrived, he realized his jaw ached from clenching it. He smiled when expected, nodded when spoken to, and counted the minutes until they could leave. On the drive back, Luna kept her eyes on the road. He doesn't believe us, Adam said quietly.
Luna exhaled.
He rarely believes anything that threatens his expectations. That night, Adam lay awake in his room, staring at the ceiling. The penthouse was silent except for the distant sound of traffic below. He thought of his old apartment, of Evelyn's socks on the floor and the hum of the refrigerator. He felt like a visitor in someone else's life, walking through rooms that would never quite belong to him. His phone buzzed just after midnight. He glanced at the screen and saw the message over Luna's shoulder as she passed his open door. Derek. Interesting choice. Adam closed his eyes. The cage had been built. He was standing inside it now. The storm arrived without ceremony. Rain hammered the windows of the penthouse in sharp, impatient bursts. The city below dissolving into streaks of white and gray. Adam was rinsing a mug at the sink when the lights flickered once, twice, then vanished entirely. Silence followed. Not the gentle kind, but the sudden absence of everything mechanical. The hum of the refrigerator died. The soft whir of air through vents stopped. Even the city seemed to hold its breath. Adam stood still, hand resting on the edge of the counter, listening to the rain take over. A few seconds later, a small glow appeared at the end of the hallway. Luna emerged from her office, her phone held loosely in her hand like a makeshift lantern. She wasn't wearing the tailored lines she usually favored. An oversized sweater hung from her shoulders, sleeves pushed up as if she'd forgotten to notice them. The power's out across the block, she said, voice quieter than usual.
Adam nodded.
Storm must have hit something important. They stood there for a moment, the distance between them unfamiliar without light to define it. Then Luna gestured toward the living room. Do you mind? She asked. They sat on opposite ends of the sofa at first, the rain filling the space with a steady rhythm. The only light came from their phones, casting soft halos that never quite reached the corners of the room. Minutes passed, maybe longer. Why did you really say yes? Luna asked suddenly. Adam didn't answer right away. He watched the rain trace crooked paths down the glass, each drop finding its own way. You already know the practical reasons, he said finally. I do, she said. That's not what I'm asking. He took a breath. Because I was tired of lying to my daughter, he said, about why things were hard, about why I was always worried. I didn't want her to grow up thinking that was normal. Luna's gaze stayed on him, steady and unblinking. The hospital, Adam continued. It became our second home. Machines, waiting rooms, bills that arrived faster than hope ever did. I kept thinking if I worked harder, stayed later, everything would balance out. He shook his head. It didn't. The rain grew louder, drumming against the glass. Luna leaned back, her head resting against the sofa. My house was always full, she said. People, noise, expectations. She paused. And somehow, I was invisible in it. Adam turned toward her. My brother was the plan, she went on. The future. I was insurance. Useful when needed. She smiled faintly. I learned early that if I wanted to matter, I had to be flawless. Silence settled again, deeper this time. not uncomfortable, shared. After a while, Luna straightened and looked at him. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For not taking the money that night," she said. "It would have been easier, cleaner."
Adam şuruk.
Didn't feel right. The words hung between them, simple and unadorned. The rain eased into something gentler, a steady whisper against the windows. Adam noticed that Luna had moved closer at some point. The space between them no longer measured. When the lights flickered back to life, they both blinked against the sudden brightness. The room felt different now, smaller, warmer, less like a stage.
Luna stood.
"I should get back to work," she said, already retreating behind the familiar mask. She paused at the doorway. "Tomorrow," she added softly, "Derek will test us again." Adam watched her disappear down the hall, then turned back toward the kitchen. He poured water into 2 glasses out of habit, then stopped. One sat untouched. He wrapped his fingers around the other. It was still warm. For the first time since he'd arrived, the penthouse felt like it held something human. The park smelled like cut grass and warm pavement, the kind of ordinary afternoon Adam had learned to treasure. Sunlight filtered through the trees in loose patterns, dappling the path as Evelyn skipped ahead of him, her sneakers slapping softly against the concrete. "Dad, look," she said, pointing toward the pond. "That one looks like a long neck."
Adam similet.
"That's not a dinosaur." "It could be," she insisted, "if it tried hard enough." He laughed, the sound surprising him. Felt like something he hadn't used in a while. They were halfway to the swings when his phone buzzed. A message from Luna. "Do you mind if I join you? I'd like to see this part of your life." Adam stopped walking. He glanced at Evelyn, who was now crouched near a patch of dirt, tracing shapes with a stick. "Okay," he typed back after a moment. 10 minutes later, Luna appeared at the park entrance. Adam barely recognized her at first. She wore jeans and a simple sweater, her hair pulled back, no visible makeup. She moved without the sharp purpose she usually carried, her steps tentative, as if she were unsure of her place here. Evelyn noticed her before Adam could say anything. "Dad?" she whispered loudly. "That lady's coming this way." Luna smiled when she reached them. "Hi," she said, kneeling slightly.
Im Luna.
Evelyn studied her with the seriousness of someone used to asking direct questions. "Are you my dad's girlfriend?" Adam's mouth opened, then closed. Luna didn't look at him for help. She met Evelyn's gaze and answered carefully. "I'm someone who cares about your dad." Evelyn considered that. "Does that mean you're staying?" Adam felt his chest tighten. "It means," Luna said gently, "that I'm here today." Evelyn nodded, satisfied, and ran back toward the swings.
Adam eyhalet.
"Thank you," he said quietly. "For answering honestly?" Luna asked. "For not promising anything you don't know you can keep." They walked along the pond while Evelyn played within sight. Ducks glided across the water, their ripples catching the light. "She's incredible," Luna said. "She's everything," Adam replied. Evelyn ran back over, breathless. "Dad, tell her about the Triceratops."
Adam similet.
"She's been on a dinosaur kick since forever." "They're strong," Evelyn said proudly, "but they stick together." Luna crouched to her level. "That's a good quality." Evelyn grinned and ran off again. They stood there in the warmth, the breeze moving softly through the trees. For a moment, Luna closed her eyes. "This," she said, opening them again, "is what winning looks like." Adam glanced at her. "What do you mean?" She gestured toward Evelyn.
No meetings. No negotiations.
"Just being here." He nodded. "It's the part people miss." They sat on a bench near the water, close enough to talk without raising their voices. Adam watched Luna as she watched his daughter, the guarded distance in her expression replaced by something quieter, almost fragile. "I need to say this," Adam said. "Evelyn stays out of everything. Always." Luna met his eyes. "I know. And I won't cross that line." He believed her. The afternoon drifted by, marked by laughter and the steady rhythm of ordinary life. When it was time to leave, Luna stood first. "I should go," she said. "Thank you for letting me come."
Anitime adam replied.
She walked away without looking back. Adam watched until she disappeared beyond the trees. That night, after Evelyn was asleep, Adam checked his email out of habit. The subject line made his stomach drop. Emergency board review. The sender was Derek. Adam closed his laptop slowly, the warmth of the afternoon still clinging to him even as the chill returned. The cafe Derek chose was quiet in the way expensive places often were. Soft music, low voices, polished with that absorbed sound. Adam arrived early and took a seat near the window. He ordered coffee. He didn't intend to drink and set his phone on the table, screen down, recording already on. Derek arrived exactly on time. "Adam," he said, smiling as if they were old friends. He sat without, waiting for an invitation. "I appreciate you coming."
Adam nodded.
"You said it was important." "It is," Derek replied. He stirred his coffee slowly, the spoon tapping once against porcelain. "I'll be direct. I know about the arrangement." Adam's chest tightened, but he kept his face still. "You took the deal because you had to," Derek continued. "I don't blame you. Anyone in your position would have done the same. And yet," Adam said quietly, "here we are." Derek smiled. "Here's what I'm offering. An exit. Clean. Quiet. You walk away now before things get messy. You keep what you've already received. The contract disappears. No one gets hurt." Adam watched the spoon circle the cup. He thought of Evelyn's laugh at the park, of Luna's expression when she'd said, "This is what winning looks like." "And Luna?" Adam asked. Derek shrugged. "That's between her and the board." The words settled heavily between them. "This is the smart choice," Derek said. "The safe one." Adam said nothing. He let the silence stretch, long enough for Derek to mistake it for consideration. "I'll think about it," Adam said finally. Derek leaned back, satisfied. "Good." They parted with polite nods. Adam stayed where he was, the coffee untouched, the recording still running. That night, Adam stood in the kitchen of the penthouse, staring out at the city. Luna found him there, her expression wary. "He came to see you," she said. "Yes." "What did he offer?" Adam turned to face her. "A way out." She waited. "When my wife was sick," Adam said, "there was a moment. A job offer. More money. Better hours." He swallowed. "I didn't take it. I told myself stability mattered more than presence." Luna's eyes softened. "She died 6 months later," he continued, "and I never stopped wondering what I missed by choosing safe." Silence filled the room. "I won't do that again," Adam said. "Not now."
Luna stepped closer. "Adam."
"I'm not going anywhere," he said. "Not if staying matters." She searched his face, then nodded once. "Then we prepare." The next morning, Adam woke to an email notification. Emergency board meeting, Thursday,
10 Uhr AM.
He closed his eyes, the weight of the choice settling fully at last. The boardroom on the 40th floor was all glass and polished wood. The city stretched out behind it like a silent witness. At exactly 10 o'clock, the meeting began. Derek spoke first. He stood with practiced ease, his voice calm. His words sharpened into something that sounded reasonable. He laid out the contract, the payments, the timeline. He framed it as deception, as manipulation, as proof that Luna Sterling could not be trusted to lead. When he finished, the room was quiet. Luna rose slowly. "Yes," she said. "Everything he described is true." A ripple passed through the table. "I entered a contractual marriage," Luna continued, her voice steady. "I did it because my father's will treated marriage as a qualification for leadership. I did not lie to enrich myself. I did it to prevent control of this company from passing to someone who sees power as entitlement." Derek smiled faintly, as if this were exactly what he had been waiting for. Then Adam stood. "I'd like to add something," he said, Gregory, the board chair, studied him. Make it brief. Adam nodded and placed his phone on the table. 2 weeks ago, Derek met with me privately. He offered me a way out. Money. Silence. If I disappeared. He pressed play. Derek's voice filled the room. Unmistakable. Calm. Persuasive. Promising discretion. Several board members shifted in their seats. That recording is incomplete, Derek said sharply. Maybe, Adam replied, but it's not the only thing. He slid a folder across the table. These are access logs, email records, calendar permissions. Derek used executive privileges to monitor Luna's communications for months, without consent. Marissa, one of the senior directors, leaned forward and flipped through the pages. Her brow furrowed. I saw signs of this, she said quietly. I didn't want to believe them. Gregory exhaled slowly. That's a serious violation. It's corporate overreach, Marissa added. And it stops today. Derek opened his mouth, then closed it. After a brief recess, the decision was delivered. Derek Sterling was removed from the board, effective immediately. The marriage clause in the will would be challenged. Luna would retain her position. The contract would dissolve legally within 30 days. It wasn't perfect, but it was just. In the hallway afterward, Luna turned to Adam. You didn't have to do that. I know, he said. I wanted to. They walked out together, the city bright in the late morning sun. 3 months later, the park looked the same. Evelyn ran ahead, her laughter carried by the breeze. Adam and Luna followed at an unhurried pace. No contracts between them, no roles to perform. Evelyn reached back and took Luna's hand without asking. Luna hesitated, then looked at Adam. Is this okay?
Adam smiled softly.
It already is. They stood there watching the water ripple. Under the afternoon light, choosing what came next. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. And that was enough.